So about a month and a half ago, we did a force on force exercise.
I see him!
I talked about the exercise itself with the guy who's in charge of the OPFOR on the podcast, and I had done a post on like a free Patreon post on sort of the whole background for the exercise and everything like that. So I'll go into the gear that I had used and sort of the pros and cons of different things and the sort of the why behind some of the stuff. So as far as the background goes, we had an OPFOR that was supposed to simulate an occupying force in an area, and then the blue four were going to infill, find them, and then find out sort of where the base camp was and staging area and everything, and then stage an assault and wipe them out. So we had a lot of kind of the rules and stipulations and things to help drive the scenario. We ended up hiking in quite a decent distance, because this whole thing too was supposed to be like the evaluation for my group, as far as the, have everybody do their job and, have to hike a little bit further than is comfortable and have to, sleep in less than ideal conditions and all that stuff, just to see how people do. So as far as the individual equipment goes, I'll start with the carbine and then go kind of first, second, third line. So as far as the rifle goes, I had a 14.5. It's mostly BCM. The barrel is a thoroughbred. It was put together by First Line Gunworks. So we had these BFAs that were made by a guy called What Dynamic Core, and he was making these elongated BFAs for like alternate muzzle devices than an A2 birdcage. So like this is on a silencer coat, Sureflyers worked, chemo type adapters, things that you use to mount a suppressor to. So he made these. We ordered a batch of them for the guys that had either pin and welds or just wanted to use one, and they worked out phenomenally. He originally made them for Tusk, and then he had a couple of extras, so we bought them and he put them all together and stuff and all that. So yeah, that worked good because we were doing all blank fire since it was force on force. D-ball A3, pretty normal. And then the light, I used a mod light head on a Surefire body with just a button cap on the back. There's a lot of the like flashlight covers and stuff like that. You can sort of mitigate that a lot by having just a button in the back that you won't, accidentally press a pressure pad. So the D-ball is hooked up to a pressure pad. I had to sort of put in here between the rail sections, and then with the rail cover here, it holds it in nicely, and I have some Velcro on there to hold it in, because the Steiner D-ball comes with Velcro and everything to mount your pressure pads. Like I said, this is a 14.5 pin and weld BCM, so the BCM QRF rail and everything. The foregrip is a Tango down stubby. I used a 40 rounder for my initial load mag, and then every subsequent mag after that was just a 30. So 40 round initial load, and then the optic is a TA31 ACOG on a LaRue 5/8 riser. Now, a lot of people complain about the ACOG eye relief and all that. I don't think that it's the eye relief so much as it's the height. The ACOG is pretty low generally, and so when you get behind the gun, you have to really like cram your head down, and it's not very comfortable. So I think that a lot of people's qualms about the eye relief is actually with the height. So if you raise the ACOG up, it works a lot better. Like there's the cram spacers and American Defense, and like I just put it on a LaRue mount. You can put it on like a BCM mount, overbore, or anything like that, and it'll help because the thing with the ACOG is that you have one, it's obviously magnified. This is a 4x. You have fiber optic strip, so you don't need to worry about batteries, because I would always leave my LPVOs on and they would die because Vortex LPVOs really aren't that great. And then you get a really wide field of view. Like I think that these are 4x32, whereas a lot of the objective lenses for LPVOs and stuff are like in the mid to high 20s. You might get some that are pretty wide on the end, but for the size and the durability and the lack of batteries and everything else that the ACOG offers, I personally love it. I didn't use a piggyback RMR or anything like that, just because I think that active aiming it still has a place. I think that one, with the ACOG, you can, if you have just a PVS 14, you can keep both eyes open and mount your PVS 14 to your non-shooting eye, and if you keep both eyes open, you can essentially passive aim with it, which is great. I don't have a single tube, so I just was gonna rely on active aiming for anything, because if it's anything up close, especially when you're in a whole squad of guys, I think a lot of people also overestimate how much they're going to use their optics, like in a close-up gunfight. Like as soon as we started taking contact, I used my optics for a bit, but there was a lot of closer stuff where I was just point shooting, and granted it's blank, so you don't really know if you're actually killing anyone, but I know I got some. So yeah, charging handle is a Geisley, triggers a Geisley Super 3 gun. Mag release is a mag pull, and then Geisley Maritime bolt release, BCM furniture, and then as far as the sling goes, just a Ferro slingster. So this is the carbine that I used. Safety's a Radian. I originally had it at a 45, but then since the trigger is like a 3.5 pound competition trigger, I ended up putting it back to a 90 because it was too spooky. Accidentally flipping that and then having the super light trigger. So yeah, this is the carbine that I used for the exercise. So as far as the first line goes for everything, I was using a Ciguera gear belt. They're one of our sponsors now, so they had sent this belt to me, and I had heard a lot of good stuff about them already, and then Geo has used their belts before, so that's why I was open to it. So then after using this belt, I do really enjoy it. It's a little unorthodox of a mounting system. It doesn't use traditional MOLLE, but I think that you can get a good tight, pouch fit on your belt without the MOLLE, and you can still use the standard MOLLE straps that come with most pouches. But they traditionally recommend that you use one wrap to put it through a certain way. So I used it worked great. The only issue that I had with it was really my fault, so I'll get into that. As far as what I carried, 2 handgun mags, so all the team leaders and stuff were carrying an actual pistol with live ammo, just for security and any sort of wildlife or anything like that, because we have a bunch of dudes out there without any live ammo and a bunch of expensive equipment. So we just kept the handguns condition 3, so a mag in the gun, but no round in the chamber, and then had mags for that. So these were in Aztec Kiwis, and then my sort of emergency reload was in a Spiritus Liberty Dynamics flashbang pouch. It works really good as a mag pouch, and then there's Velcro on the inside, so that way you can tuck your flap and get it out of the way. You can tuck it deeper than that, but I'm not going to. And then you have good elastic retention of your mag. So I prefer to use these because flat mags are really nice if you're wandering a lot in the woods, and especially like if you're in kind of weird terrain where there's a chance that you can fall. Like I've slipped and fell down a hill that was all icy before, and I lost a mag just because I had like one of the Ferro elastic mag pouches that I didn't have retention on it, which is dumb.
I hit my elbow so bad. Yeah, I'm good. That went a bit faster than I thought.
But yeah, as far as like the S-Tags go, I think that they're fine because they have the Kydex in there to retain it. So moving back, I have an AWS gear like mini dump pouch. I mostly use it as a water pouch or sort of like a possibles pouch. Like if I know that there's going to be like we're gonna have to make a fire or something like that, or if I'm doing something more like going back to a base camp and everything. I like that because then I can take birch bark or any sort of kindling that I find and put it in here. I can put whatever sort of object I find in general in here. Like I said, water bottles that'll fit a full-size Nalgene, and you can tighten the neck of it to sort of cinch around your water bottle. Funny enough, I don't use this as a dump pouch like ever. And so when we actually got into the firefight, I forgot that I had a dump pouch on me because I never use it as a dump pouch. So I was like trying to retain my mags and all that, and I would like drop them to put a new one in, continue firing, and then when I was going to be able to move or do whatever, I'd grab my mag and then go to move, and then I'd have to shove it into wherever it was open and all that. So yeah, dump pouches are nice. I don't usually use them as like a primary, drop mag, reload, and then put it in your dump pouch. But if you have a dump pouch, you should train with it like I did not. So there's that, just piece of advice. On the back was my IFAC, a Ferro Roll 1. Now, normally I mount it to the top and I use this Ranger band to sort of secure it onto the belt. But once I put it on and I had my ruck on, it was pushing down and driving my pants down, because with the inner outer belt, it's connected to your pants essentially. So if your belt gets driven down, it's gonna pull your pants down. So before we stepped, I took it off, flipped it around real quick and put it back on. And so it hangs just below the belt, which is what I do really like about the Roll 1 is that you can kind of stick it anywhere. Back of the plate bags, front of the plate bags, front of a chest rig, belt, top or bottom. You can put it in line on the belt with the Ranger band, like I said. But if you have a ruck and you have a traditional IFAC mounted to the back that is into the MOLLE, if your ruck is pushing down on it, you kind of just got to suffer. Like I used to do that with one of the LBT, the London Bridge, like default NPC IFACs that everyone has, and I greatly prefer the Roll 1 for that. So here I have a Spiritus medium GP pouch that I use for my night vision. So the night vision that I put in here were BNVD 1431 Mark IIs that I had gotten from US Night Vision. I bought them a little while ago. So this is what I use because we did our initial movement in the night, like our initial infill in the night. And so, after the morning came, I put them away and wanted to keep a padded pouch. So that's what I like about the Spiritus ones, is they have those padded inserts. And then in the front here, I just kept pouch with batteries and everything for the night vision. And yeah, so that's what I used this for. So the problem that I kind of created for myself with this belt, which would happen to any inner outer belt, it's not something that is just this belt, is that I got kind of lazy because this GP pouch I normally keep on a plate carrier, and because I wanted to carry my night vision in a GP and keep it on me, I took it off the plate carrier, and then I didn't want to like reweave the MOLLE and do everything. So the Spiritus pouches you can slide them onto a belt. So that's what I did here. So I slid it onto the belt so you don't have as much exposed the hook face. You get like a little bit right there, and then for my holster, I keep it on a Blade Tech Tech Lock, and then so this combined didn't have much room for my inner belt to attach to my outer belt to really secure it. So I had a leg strap on here which kept it up, but I could tell that my belt on my right hip was below the inner belt, but like the whole time, which wasn't a huge deal, but it was kind of irritating at times, especially in the beginning because I forgot to put on the leg strap, and it was like pitch black out there, like no illumination or anything. So yeah, just something to be aware of. As far as the holster goes and everything, it's a True North Concepts modular holster adapter. I put it on a Blade Tech blade lock, so that way when I have to go to use it for work, because I'm not issued a handgun, I just pop it off and works well. Handgun is an HK VP9 with a TLR1 and RMR. The RMRs are nice because when you're walking through the woods, they just collect every single piece of debris possible, especially into the hood of your holster. So it all collects real nice. So if you actually bring the gun up, you can't see anything, which is really fantastic. The holster is a Midwest Tactical Solutions. So they're another one of our sponsors. I had bought one of their holsters before, absolutely loved it, and then I reached out to them to see if they wanted to do something with sponsorship. So also the way that all of our sponsorships work is that they will give us stuff that we ask for within reason, no charge, and then in return we push and have like a discount code for them. So we don't get money for them. It's not like an affiliate link or anything. They don't give us payouts based on how many people use our codes or anything like that. So it really just comes down to us being able to use their gear and sort of tell people about it because we do enjoy it. And then you can go get it at a discounted price. So that's how the sponsorships work. They're very honest. And then this Ciguera gear, this tourniquet is in a Ciguera gear. It's like a mag holder for like EDC stuff, but it fits a tourniquet perfectly. And then per our SOPs for the thing, we had two tourniquets accessible. So more were recommended to have, but 2 needed to be accessible and visible for everyone. So moving on to the second line, the chest rig I used is sort of a big conglomerate of stuff. So it's a Faro Concepts dope on a Faro Concepts chesty, which is their normal chest rig adapter pieces that you hook in your placards to, on a Strange Time Supply set of expander wings. So these are the new expander wings that we had worked together on, because he had the old ones which were pretty good, but there was a few small improvements that could have been made, and Strange Time Supply made them and just did a fantastic job. So I originally started talking to him and using his stuff when he was under the name Enamel Pie, because I wanted the expander wings, and then we ended up kind of working together, and so another guy that has a discount code for us. Like I said, I don't get money from him for discount codes used. There's no affiliate links or anything like that. So that's how that works. So as far as the actual contents of the rig go, on the front is a Faro Concepts, excuse me. On the front is a Faro Concepts dope with their normal 3 mag insert and then their normal kangaroo pocket. I think it's like the small, not the half, but not the super big one. Inside of this, I kept another notebook, another Right in the Range. Some of these Black Hills Design ranging cards. So with the ACOG, you can range humans and people using the BBC, but you cannot range objects. So if there's a car or a door or something like that that you see, you can't range it. And I didn't bring a rangefinder, so all that is nice. Because with the ACOG and the ranging card and the fact that we're in like thicker woods, I didn't really need to bring a rangefinder. A couple pens and markers. So normal ballpoint pen for the Right in the Rain, a Sharpie pen, which works good on Right in the Rain, an actual Sharpie, which is also good for the medical stuff, a map, another pen. I thought I had a map pen in here somewhere. Actually, the map pen is what I kept in my field shirt with the Right in the Rain, because I like to use the map pens for the Right in the Rain a lot because they show up nice and bold. And then this is a protractor for maps. I also cut my map in here, so but I don't have it on me. A spare protractor, because 2 is 1, 1 is none. And then a Bic lighter with a Ranger band here to keep the button from being depressed. Also, it can be used as a fuel. Like you can light these Ranger bands and they'll burn for a long time because they're rubber. So that's all that I kept in here. I think I kept some batteries in here too, but it's been a little while, so I took them out. Here's my other tourniquet, just on bungees. So on the front part is another ferro chesty ATAC, they call it, and it's just to keep a foam board. So this is where I put like my ATAC and maps and stuff like that. Obviously we're using physical paper maps, but having digital maps is a lot quicker and easier. And then also, like, while you're moving, it's a little bit easier than having to pull up like your GPS data, plot it on the map, you know, figure out where you're at, especially when it's dark out. You're taking up less time and you don't need to stop and everything if you have your maps digitally. So that was that. I learned the lesson again that I do every single time that I use these exposed foam boards, is that everything gets really wet because it's raining and snowing the whole time. And I have these lens wipes, but they only do so much, and eventually your stuff just gets wet. So on the back, I have one of the half kangaroo pouches for the ferro stuff, and in here I just keep a phone charger and a cable. You can keep additional admin in here, like notebooks and more, like I can keep protractors in here and all that stuff, but I just use the charging stuff right back here, so that way I can hook it in real quick and I don't really need to worry about cable management or anything. Funny enough, I charged it leading up, and then when we got there, on the first like full day, my phone was running low, so I went to charge it and the battery pack didn't work, so then I didn't have my digital maps anymore. So word to the wise, always have your physical maps up to date. So that way, if your digital map does die, or if there's a heavy glare or something happens, you can't use it, you can't see it, you don't have to sit there and catch up with your physical maps and do all that. So when you get a chance to stop and take a break, update your physical maps. So on this side, I have a radio, a Motorola, in the built-in pouch for the wings, just on a push-to-talk here. And then a Spiritus, just a pouch that has another mag in it. So altogether, this rig carries 5 mags. I had my initial 40-round load mag, and then my belt had my 7th mag. So full combat load of 7 mags, which I went through in an incredible amount of time because I was blasting them. So in the just a pouch, I have spare gloves. Well, these are like warm, like USGI wool insert gloves that I use on top of the pig gloves if, once it got cold. So I really should have gotten heavier gloves, but when I was looking at the weather, it didn't look bad, and then the weather just turned to absolute crap. So here's one of the Cana Provisions water decon kits that I got for Christmas from my dad, so thanks, Dad. 2 glow sticks, another pen and Sharpie, and some tape, and another lens wipe, and that's it. And then on this side, I have another magazine here, and then tourniquet, and then a water bottle in a double Cry mag pouch. So this whole rig can essentially carry 5, 6, 7 mags, and then it's just a micro rig with expander wings. It can carry 7 mags if I need to. A tourniquet, I could drop medical down here with a roll 1. I have maps and columns and all that stuff, admin. So definitely a good system. I personally am a huge fan of using micro rigs with adapters versus a full-size rig, because this just, after I film this video, I'm just gonna put this back on my plate carrier here. So your kit is kind of all working together and is able to be more useful because you can use it on multiple things at the same time. So the other thing that I forgot to bring out here was a fanny pack, a Spiritus fanny that I kept a GPS and some additional admin and batteries and stuff in, so nothing too wild. And then for the helmet, this is an MTech Carbon S. Funny enough, I thought that this was ballistic when I got it, and it turned out that it's not ballistic, so I don't have a ballistic helmet, I need one. So as much as I love this helmet, I'm probably gonna sell it just because I need a ballistic for work. So yeah, great helmet, fantastic, super comfortable. It has the 4D pads in it, which are great. I wore it literally the whole time, and at no point was my head too hot because it was cold out, or neck never started to hurt or anything. On the back side, I also had a cover on this to help contain the wires and stuff, but I took the cover off because I had to do something else. On the back, I have Microbat Systems counterweight with a battery pack for night vision, Wilcox G24, and then Peltor Contact 3s here. So that's pretty much all I use as far as the helmet goes. And then, the cover on the top kept the color of it was the actual IFF. So I don't really think that relying on patches is a good idea because they're pretty small. So having big bold things like certain colors or anything like that is good. I wouldn't rely on like camouflage schemes either, especially because the majority of camouflage patterns they're not very easy to identify at distance. So I've talked about IFF like a ton of times, but I think that depending on what platform I talk on, whether it's like Instagram or this is going on YouTube and everything, I reach a different target audience or a different group of people. So I'll kind of continue to repeat myself among different things just because different people use different things. Like people that might stumble on this video might not watch or might not subscribe on Instagram or follow or whatever. So it's good to still kind of parrot some of these points. So it's kind of annoying for the people that are terminally online like me and have everything and for some reason follow me and everything. I don't know how you do that, but that's one of the big reasons for like, certain helmet covers in certain colors or schemes that are very recognizable from 50 meters or more, and then all that. So the color that we use for our headgear and everything is black because it's pretty bold and you can kind of identify it from a distance pretty easily. And once we actually made contact and we're in our firefight, it was extremely easy to tell who was on our team. Which, at that point the OPFOR already knows where you are, so it's not like they're gonna see somebody on your side or where you're at or somewhere in the middle or moving on them or anything like that and wonder like, oh, is that the enemy or is that us? Like they're gonna assume it's the enemy, and they're probably, if it's not, they're probably gonna commit fratricide. So having that identification is nice because you're gonna be less likely to hesitate if you see somebody to know whether they're on our team or there. So take that for what it's worth. All right, so kind of the final piece is the pack. So the pack that I used was a Mystery Ranch Overload MSOB. It's an issued pack, so I wanted to use it because it's newly issued to me. And then on the front, I have a Haley Strategic flat pack. So I'll kind of go into a lot of it. The thing with it is that I have unpacked everything so I could let it dry and all that. So there's going to be some stuff that wasn't here that I don't have at this moment. So starting with the lid, I kind of had it broken down into two categories since it's the day pack lid. So on this side I have layers. So I had a rain layer that's a Beyond A6, and then I had an insulation layer which was an Arc'teryx Atom LT. So these were quick access because when we went on our patrols, we would just use the day pack, so it was easy to take that out. Plus, if I needed to throw on a rain layer or whatever, I could do that pretty easily. So that stuff is quick access. And here I kept one of my rations. So I'll show you actually. The other one's just too packed. I don't feel like repacking it. But I kept these monkey meals. One of these, I kept more in my pack itself. And then that was sort of the emergency meal, to be honest, because since we were setting up a patrol base and working out of that, we didn't want to do a lot of stuff with fire and heat and have to boil your food, because then, you know, you're gonna have to get up and move and all that. So it's just a pain. So I mostly just had like MREs and snacks and all that stuff that I also kept in here, but I've eaten all the snacks since. So beanie, this is actually a outdoor research beanie. It kind of looks like the Faro ones, but I think they were out of stock or something, and the outdoor research one I found at REI. And then a poncho for my emergency shelter. Since I already have a rain layer on, I didn't need to use this as a rain layer, so it's more of an emergency shelter, because I wasn't planning on building a shelter, and I didn't end up doing it, but you know, just in case the weather was real nasty. In here also I kept a water purification kit initially that I ended up moving into my flat pack, so I'll show you that as well. Underneath the day pack lid, I kept my Thermarest Z-Lite sleeping pad. Love that thing. So I attached my Haley Strategic flat pack to this. So this is what I used on the actual like patrols and everything like that, because we moved into our patrol base, staged our rucks, and then used day packs. So to secure it, I just used the bungee wrapped around the grab handle and then hooked underneath this webbing here, so that way it didn't slouch down too far. And then I have these two compression straps to cinch it down. So inside the flat pack, how I did this was I have a Grayman Tactical MOLLE panel. So I initially got one to carry radios in this more comfortably, and then I put one of the Marine Corps hydration pouches on here and kept my Camelback in here. So I had my Camelback in here, as well as a smaller water bottle on my chest rig, and then two full-size Nalgene's here. So, and then water purification stuff. Had a couple things of that, and then we had a larger bag that we could do for a group. So one of our patrol routes did take us close to water, so that way if halfway through, if we needed to do a serious water resupply, we could do it on one of the patrol routes and carry the water back and all that. So route planning comes into play a lot with how much you're going to carry equipment. I didn't need to carry as much water because one, we're in Michigan, so there's water literally everywhere. Two, it was snowing, which we didn't know on the way up that it was going to snow because it wasn't supposed to snow. But you can boil snow and all that to drink water. And then obviously there was a key river that kind of went through the area and a bunch of other little places to get water. So in the front here, I had, oh, they're not in here. I had a GoPro that I used for the final assault thing, and then I kept another Sawyer squeeze mini and whatnot. And then I also kept a small survival kit. So I'll link the survival kit that I used, because Boxcutter gear. I can never remember his name, but I talk to him all the time. So Boxcutter gear makes this little survival kit, and it's like pocket sized, and it has a little blade in it, and it has a ton of stuff in it to make fire, cut things, a compass, some glow sticks, fire starters, all that. So the last thing I kind of kept on the outside was one of these Relva Eclipse hides. So we knew that the OPFOR was going to have a thermal, and part of our initial route plan that ended up having to change was that we were going to stage kind of nearby one of the roads. And what our plan was we figured that they were going to use their thermal in a vehicle to look for us. So I was going to hang this Eclipse hide sort of between our patrol base and the road. So it's not perfect. It's obviously not going to turn us invisible or anything like that, but these do work very well against thermal. I've tested them with the Marine Corps iNods, so they're on the sniper rifles. It works extremely well. Like we were, I don't know, maybe 30 to 50 yards away, had it hung up and stood behind it, and you can see the legs that were underneath the hide like perfectly, but then the body and the head behind the hide you could not see at all. It lets in a little bit of thermal just to help camouflage, because when you look at the actual ground and the, you know, thing like that, like the sun makes some parts of the ground a little bit warmer than the others and all that, so it actually helps blend you instead of just block you out. So it's very good piece of equipment, especially now with how prevalent thermal is. You can't necessarily wear it, it's not going to work that way, but you can use it for a hide, or you can put it, I've seen pictures where people put it, like they'll have their tent and then they'll put it on their tent and then they'll put their rain fly over that to kind of keep it contained, and then while you're sleeping your thermal signature isn't blasting all through the woods for anyone to see, so you can, you know, honk shoe nicely. So inside the main pack, I kept more food and a folding saw, which are not in here, and a pillow, which are not in here, because I found that I really need to keep a pillow. I mean, it kind of sounds weird, but I've done it before where I've just put, you know, clothes or whatever to use as a pillow, and I've woken up with like gnarly headaches. I've tried to use spare blankets as pillows, woken up with headaches. So I just use a pillow and stay comfortable and pack it in, you know, whatever. So I had these are one of the Army issue fleeces. The Army issue is way better fleeces than the Marine Corps does. The only problem with getting the Army fleeces is that you gotta remove all that weird Velcro. So I did that, and then you don't have to, but I wanted to. So I use this as an additional warming layer. And then a jet boil, which, you know, like I said, we weren't planning on cooking food out there, but you can use these to start fires in an emergency, especially if the wood is wet and you really need to dry it out. Boil snow, boil water, or if you do need to heat up a ration because you're going hypothermic, you can do that. And then the last thing that was in here was the sleeping bag and bivvy. Oh, and also, sorry, I forgot to mention, in this area here, I kept some spare batteries, because they're in the top of the pack, there's storage. I kept like hygiene gear and some spare batteries and stuff. I think I had another Sawyer squeeze in there as well. So I had like 3 or 4 methods of purifying water. So yeah, the sleeping bag was an REI Igneo 17. It's like a 17-degree bag. I made the mistake of using this bag because I thought that the weather was going to be fine. I knew it was going to dip down kind of cold. And because I was using a smaller pack, I wanted to pack lighter and use a down sleeping bag and not have to pack a synthetic sleeping bag and then a liner. The problem is that down does not work when it's wet, and this got wet because when I put it all back in, I should have kept it in the bivvy and like rolled it up and everything, but I didn't build a shelter. I just used my bivvy that I stored in the top part. And then, you know, when it was time to go to sleep, it was already snowing and raining and all that. So I just got inside the bivvy and went to bed. And then when I woke up, I was fine. I was warm and comfortable, and I shoved it all back in here to break down camp. And when I pulled out my sleeping bag, like when I got home, it was completely wet. So luckily, you know, it wasn't bad because we didn't stay out there another night. We ended up after we called Index, me and the guy that I rode up with, we just kind of left because most of the guys were leaving. But yeah, so synthetic bags are nice and warm, but use them when they're dry. Or sorry, down bags are nice and warm, but use them when they're dry. Use synthetic bags when, you know, you're gonna potentially be wet because they're still gonna insulate you. Or carry like a wool, a nice wool layer or whatever. So yeah, sorry about all the noise with the branches on the garage. I really don't film a lot of videos because I don't have a good place to do it all, but you're gonna get what you get. So yeah, this is essentially what I use for everything, minus a couple things, like I said, that were missing, a couple pack contents, like extra socks and underwear and stuff like that I packed in here. I didn't pack any extra uniforms or extra boots or anything like that because it was a short duration thing. Packed a lot of extra socks and underwear, the saw, and then the jet boil and some extra food and stuff was really the other thing. So I kind of break it down in food, water, fire, shelter, hygiene, and then medical. So with your food, make sure that you have a way to eat and cook food if you need to, and procure food for real long term. Water, make sure you can obviously hold water, drink water, get new water. Fire, yeah, food, water, fire. Make sure that you can start a fire. So I had Bic lighters and like everything I had in pockets, and in that fanny pack I have another Bic lighter. I had like 3 Bic lighters on me with the Ranger bands to help keep them from dispelling all of their fuel, as well as another fuel source to start a fire. You know, I had that survival kit, all that. I think I brought a ferro rod in here too. So yeah, make sure you can start a fire. And then shelter is like your warming layers. Make sure that you can protect yourself from the elements and keep yourself warm. So bivvy and sleeping bag, I consider shelter items. The fleece, the loft jacket, which is the Atom, and then my rain jacket are all shelter items, and then the poncho. So I had that. Hygiene, make sure you can brush your teeth, and if it's warm out or you're in an area that you have ticks and all that, make sure you can get those off. You know, brush your teeth, do all that stuff that you need. Also, like if you're eating a lot of beef jerky, bring flossers, because I have that problem. And then medical is the last thing. We had a med bag per team, and then everybody had medical equipment on them. So, you know, God forbid something happens, we were good. So it's pretty much what I carried. So if you have any questions, or you want to tell me that I'm dumb for carrying something, which I know is going to happen, let me know. Thanks.